Recently, news has come across my desk that Pastor Isaiah Banks and Pastor Bryan L. Jackson from Philadelphia have been living a double life. I want to talk about that with you, but before I get into the conversation, why don't you do me a favor? Like this video so the algorithm can push it out, subscribe to the channel, I'm not charging you a dime, and shop at CorgenHair.com for your hair care needs. I am the founder and owner of the brand, and I appreciate your support. Now let's get into some clips.
The devil is a liar. God has anointed me and appointed me for such a time as this. That's why I don't like telling everybody everything. You can't tell everybody your dreams and your goals. You can't tell everybody your ventures and what you're planning to do, because not everybody understands the call and the anointing and the power that you have. I know that person failed at it, but God's going to give me grace to succeed at it. I know that person didn't go through it, but God's going to give me the grace and the strength that I need to get it done. Would you do me a favor and just lean over and tell somebody you can still get it done? You can still, I don't know what it is, but you can still get it done. I don't care if it's your business, you can still get it done. If it's the marriage, you can still get it done. If it's your education, you can still get it done. Maybe that's why Paul said, I can do not some things, not a few things, but I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me.
Pastor Isaiah Banks said, "The devil is a liar. God has appointed him for such a time as this." We are about to find out why. But before we do, why don't we hear from Pastor Bryan Jackson?
You ought to open your mouth and you ought to declare, I'm coming out of this. Come on, you ought to declare, I'm coming. I don't know where you are. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what you're dealing with, but you ought to decree in this atmosphere and you ought to decree under an open heaven, I'm coming out of this. He tells us to put on a garment of praise, even for the spirit of heaviness. Heaviness can't do nothing if you change your garment. When I think of God's goodness, when I think of God's mercy, when I think of God's kindness, Philippians tells us if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, change what you think about. If you can't think about nothing that he's doing, think about something that he's already done. If you can't think about something that he's doing in your life, think about what he's done in your neighbor's life. Think about what he's done in the life of one of your church members. Think about what he's done in the life of your children. Think about what he's done in the life of your family. Think about what he's done in the life of your friends. But there is always a reason. There's always a reason to praise the Lord.
Pastor Bryan Jackson said, you better open up your mouth and declare that you're coming up out of this. I bet he's declaring that he's coming up out of the mess that he done got himself in. And then he goes on to say that if you can't think about something that the Lord has done for you, think about what he's done for your family, your neighbor, your children, your church family. Yeah, church members. He concerned about the church members. But was he concerned when this happened?
In April, police started investigating a report from DHS that former pastor Isaiah Banks was soliciting videos and photos from who he knew in exchange for money or food. That same month, Banks stepped down as pastor of Second Pilgrim Baptist Church. We got this statement from the church saying they're deeply shocked and saddened by these developments, as the safety and well-being of the congregation and broader community are their highest priority. The investigation revealed Banks was sending those photos to Bryan Jackson, the pastor at Garden of Prayer Church. Officials say Jackson also posed as a woman to get images and videos directly from the victim.
When cases like this come up, I really don't like to give a lot of my opinion because I truly believe in innocent until proven guilty. But it's something about when you start messing with the babies, the children. I don't care if they 17, 16, they're still minors. It's something about that that just bothers my whole spirit and turns my stomach. And I get people sometimes are accused of things that they did not do. But there's an investigation that started in April of 2026. And these men didn't get arrested until, I believe, June 23rd of 2026. There is photos, text messages going back and forth that included both of these men with a minor. Now, an adult happened to find the information in the minor's phone, and the minor wound up going to therapy. And of course, the therapist is mandated to report some things. And so the report went out, and I believe that's how the investigation got to rolling. Now, these two men who are supposedly pastors were arrested, and they are out on bail. I don't even think they should be out on bail. Off with their heads. That's how I feel. I just had to say that because that's how I truly, truly feel. In my opinion, they already look suspect. Look at the pictures. Something is just not feeling right with me. The men that I grew up around and the men that I was raised by wouldn't care nothing about filters and having a lining that's so crisp, and the poses, all of that is throwing me off and making me question, how is it that nobody else in the church thought, something that don't sit right? Just me. I know I'm gonna get in trouble for judging a book by its cover, but something just don't sit right. And then to add more onto it, neither one of these men are married. You have a 30-year-old and a 42-year-old. I just can't sit under pastors who aren't married. Your wife better just been and passed away. And if she does, eventually I'm going to be looking for you to get another one. And I don't mean 10 years later. I like a pastor to go ahead and find you a wife. Fast, quick, in a hurry. Especially if you're real young. Now, if you're a little up there in age, like 65, 70, I can understand. But if you young, why you not married? And you in the pulpit preaching? I just find that very suspicious. That's just me, though. There are wolves in sheep clothing out here. And instead of us paying attention and dissecting the people who have truly come out with a testimony and trying to figure out their life, we need to be looking out for the wolves in sheep clothing. Because they're standing sometimes right in your kitchen, sitting right on your couch, or standing right in your pulpit. And we're not dissecting them as much as we are dissecting other people. Imagine that. All of the testimonies that are in the Bible, and us as Christians, we go by it. We listen to it. We stand on it. But when somebody in our time gives a testimony, we pick them apart and we pick the testimony apart. We need to be real careful about that. Because the people that we should be keeping an eye on are the ones that we're not. Now, let me know what you think about this video in the comments below, because that's what I'm here for.